Hello, everybody. Very pleased to be here in Tel Aviv. So, as you heard, I'm Maria Pennanen. I'm actually here today in the capacity as the co-founder of Accelerator Frankfurt, which is a go-to-market acceleration program for startups that are pre or post Series A. And I think today's topic is quite interesting. So we're going to talk about how to ensure a successful cooperation between fintechs and corporates. And during the presentation, I will show you how we do it, and hopefully in the end show you that how we actually are also successful. I think we all know this guy. I think he got one thing right, that a person who never made a mistake never actually tried anything new. And this is, I think, the biggest difference that we have between a startup and a corporate. Because a corporate absolutely doesn't want to make mistakes. And every startup knows that you're going to make plenty of them, and hopefully you learn something along the way. So how do we actually ensure a success with this cooperation? And for us, it starts even before the selection process of the startups. For us, it's very important to involve the right partners in the corporates. What we do is that we identify those people in the banking industry or the insurance companies, and we collect from them a shopping list. And with this list, we can then go and shop and search for those startups. For us, we mainly scout for startups here in Israel and, of course, in Nordiska. And for us, what do we then look for? Of course, the main criteria is always the team. We have to believe that the team has the capabilities to execute the business plan that they have. The business idea, of course, has to be scalable. There has to be a market for it, and they need to show passion, because it's very hard to be a startup entrepreneur. And if you don't have the passion, you're probably going to fail along the way. And the last but not least, how do we ensure that the selection process is very successful, is that we use our mentors, who are also enablers for the startups to connect to the industry. These mentors, they are themselves investors and very successful entrepreneurs, and probably made a very good exits also. Well, what is our mission then? We actually believe that change in business can only happen with passionate people. So our job is to attract those people and help them grow. So who do we then actually accelerate? Because normally we think an acceleration process is to accelerate the startups. But our main goal is actually to accelerate the corporates. Because corporates always think that they have all the time in the world to work with the startup. But for startup knows that half a year for them might be something that defines if they live or die. So for us, we have a 4-month program, and we create this kind of urgency with the corporates that they understand that there's a limited time where they have to decide whether or not they work with the startup or not. And of course, we want to create a very great atmosphere for the collaboration between the startups and the corporates. And we do clearly accelerate also the startups. But what we want to accelerate is the sales cycle for the startup. So clearly, there needs to be some kind of value provided, not only for the fintech, the startup, but of course for the corporate. So the startup is clear. They always know what they want, and they get something from the program. But since the corporate wants to innovate, and we said, as we saw from the first picture from Einstein in the beginning, they do not want to make mistakes. So what we do is we actually help the corporates to tackle this problem. How can we change our culture in a way that we can accept mistakes, and if we can't, then let's outsource our failure to the startup. Well, then what happens? It's either you do it or you don't do it. And that's, I think, in essence, what it's all about. Stop talking and start doing. So, how to succeed? How can we say that is something successful or not? And clearly, anyone who ever made a business plan knows that to make something successful, you need to have clear KPIs. You need to measure your success, and then you know whether you succeed or not. For us, for example, actually at Frankfurt, our KPIs are very clear. We want 70% of the startups that go through our program to get investors, and the same amount, 70% of them, to get the POC or pilot with the bank. And we can say that so far we've been very successful. In our first wave, we had 5 companies out of 7 that actually got the POC and a pilot with the bank. And they also continue the cooperation with banks. So it's the results that speak for themselves. And of course, there is a lot of illusion going around in the startup world. But in truth, timing, perseverance, and 10 years of trying will eventually make you look like an overnight success. And I think this is the big illusion that we have, but we all know it. So let's just work hard and get to that overnight success. Here you can see some of the companies that you probably even recognize. So far we have had 21 companies going through our program, and 6 of them actually are Israelis. You can probably find them yourself from there, but those companies such as BI, Fenro 7, they got and secured good POCs and pilots with the banks. If you want to ask anything, you are interested in our program, please go to our website, www.acceleratorfrankfurt.com, send me a direct email or tweet us or ask us questions. Thank you very much.